Hey, good evening, YouTubers. Tio here, Simplistic Fishing. Hey, tonight I'm going to switch off the Lake Texoma lake breakdowns. I know we've been doing tons of those, and I still got a lot more to do. Offshore hotspots are coming up. I'll be working on those later this evening, hopefully pumping those out in the next 3 or 4 days. But I want to switch gears here. We did the beginner video, so if you didn't get to see that, if you if you want to know more about maps and learning how to read maps and contour lines and things like that, and really understand terminology of other fishermen, that's a great video to watch. That will be publishing out tonight, so you'll actually see that one prior to this video actually going live. So want to go ahead and put this one out though. This one, we're going to go out to East Texas. You guys saw me do a live video a couple weekends ago on Lake Quitman. I didn't do really great out there. I did catch a couple decent fish though. I think I caught 4 or 5 fish. I was just kind of feeling my way around. It was super windy that day. I remember that. But I got some comments back from some of the viewers that say, hey, this really is a good lake. And I totally missed the mark when I was out there fishing. When you guys saw the live thing, I was kind of more focused on offshore stuff. And then I went in and really tried to fish the back of the creeks. And those were really shallow and stuff. But I did catch a few fish. But what I was catching fish on was the docks. And I just didn't focus enough on the docks in that lake. So if you're going out and you're fishing this lake, I would say after being there one time now, and I'm definitely going to go back, I would say focus very heavily on the docks on this lake. But if you don't want to do that and you just want to get like a lake breakdown, that I normally do for you, here we go. Here's a lake breakdown for Lake Quitman. Stick around. I've got some good stuff. The other little lakes, you can't really find much information on web apps, maybe Onyx for Lake Quitman. There just isn't much there. You don't see a lot of contour lines or anything like that. But what you can find, and you've heard me talk about this before, is there is a application, or actually just a website you can go to called iBoating. So you can go out to iBoating, and typically iBoating will come through for you on these smaller lakes. Now, Lake Quitman doesn't really have a lot of good offshore spots, at least from what I can tell from the contour perspective. So what I did was I marked a couple spots on iBoating, and then I transferred them over to Google Earth. So we'll talk about them on Google Earth here in just a second. But I want to point them out to you really quick while we're out here on this page. There's about 6 of them. The first one is right here off the edge of this island. So see where you've got, almost looks like a channel swing possibly going on right there. And then off the very edge of this point, I can see that being a pretty good area. Also, if you move over here, you've got an underwater point that comes out right over here. So we've marked that one. There's a hump that's out here. It looks pretty decent. You could also come up here around this island too, maybe get off here on the side of the island out here. That could be maybe a better spot for you. You've got a decent little flat going on there. And then also right here, you've got a little turnout that comes out. Makes a little point right there. That looks pretty good as well. And then I found a couple more things down here further on this side, down here by the boat ramp. Just a couple of things, really. You've got a pretty decent point there. You've got a pretty decent point right here as well. And then you've got an underwater point coming out right here that'll be marked on that Google Earth map that you'll see. Got a saddle back in here by this island. Pretty decent little drop-offs off the edge of that. And really, that was about it. I mean, I don't see too many other things from an offshore standpoint that would really make me want to go out and check it out. But like I mentioned before, this is a dock lake. So let's move over and let's talk about the things that we found on Google Earth. So we went over the offshore hotspots just a minute ago with the iBoating, so you can see them here on the Google Earth offshore spots, or on the Google Earth as well, where I've added those points in for you for those cards. So here's the first one we looked at, that first offshore spot. Let's see if I can zoom over here for you guys and show this to you really quick. There's the first one. There's the underwater island that was out there, the underwater hump. This is out there where that little point came out. There's another point that was up here as well. And then if we scrolled over, you had that underwater point that was here. There's a little ridge that was going over there. And then you had another point that was here as well. So that was really all we found from the offshore spots. Now let's talk about what we found from a Google Earth standpoint. This was an interesting lake because it only fluctuates about 3 feet. So you can't find a lot on this lake from a Google Earth waypoints. But I was able to find a few things. So let's just start on the ramp here. We're going to go around, we'll come back, and we'll finish up at that ramp. So first spot obviously is the edge of that point. There's a little underwater point going on there that's pretty good, so I would definitely check that out from an offshore standpoint. We've got lots of docks to fish around, so definitely fish around all the docks that you can find on this lake. When we move up here, a couple things I noticed that I was able to pick up. Again, not able to pick up tons of stuff in here, but you've got a boat ramp that's right here, and you've got like a seawall that's right here as well. That would be really fun to flip around and fish around and things like that. So definitely take a look at that seawall as well, see what you can find there. And then I'm going to keep moving up. Again, lots of docks, so you want to fish all of these docks that you see. And then moving up, we've got that one offshore spot you saw right there that was off the edge of that island we talked about. And then we get up here, you see the next offshore spot that we talked about, which is that little point that came out here. And then here we've got a couple different things that are happening back in here. One, there's a creek swing that comes right up against this bank line and then swings back over this way. Actually, I think it swings this way, it comes back this way. But there's a good creek swing that's happening right in here, so definitely check out that area. You've also got an underwater hump that's in this area as well to check out. We've got a saddle going on back in here, and then there's some underwater debris that's back here as well that's kind of hard to tell, but if I zoom in, you might be able to see it. It's like where an old dock or something was. So you can see the underwater debris there. Then as you get way farther back in there, there is a creek channel that's way up in there. So let's take you back up in there and show that to you. So you can see you've got a pretty good swing that's going on, a good turn that's going on in there. And then the creek channel really hugs tight against that wall. So make sure when you go back there, you're not fishing over here, you're fishing on this side. And I think you're gonna have a lot more luck if you're back there fishing. So let's move back here. That's the main side. Now let's move back over. We talked about this offshore hotspot. This is where that point comes out. You've also got a ramp that's over here as well. Got another one that's hidden back in here. And then you've got some riprap and things going on back here by this road. So if I zoom in here for you guys, you'll see it. A little bit of grass and things around it, but definitely some chunk rock and things like that you could fish around. And then here's that ramp that looks like it doesn't get used too much, but it does look like a public ramp. And then as we move on down, there is some rock right in this area. So I didn't see too much rock on this lake. Again, it's really hard to tell because the lake only fluctuates 3 feet. So, I'm not going to show you too much, but you did have some rock that was right there in that area. And then as I zoom back out, that offshore spot that we talked about, you've got another boat ramp that's right in here, just to the, I guess this would be just to the west of that island. You've got a ramp that's right there. And then you've got another ramp that's over here, which is just opposite of the ramp that I went to. I actually launched right here. And there's a ramp that's directly across from it. Now, a couple more things that you had back in here. You do have a little bit of rock that's hidden back in this area. So I went ahead and marked that for you guys. I don't know if we're going to be able to see it on this image or not, but there's definitely rock right in that area. Let's see if I can move it up to 11. See if I can get us a different image. That might give us something better. I don't think it's going to give us too much more. It's really hard to find stuff again. So you got some rock right there. And then you've also got a ramp that's coming up over here. And then there's a creek channel back here. Now I went back in here, actually caught a fish off that dock right there. I went a little bit further back in here. There's a little bit of a ramp or some kind of debris right in here, so definitely check that. There's also a pretty decent wall right here behind this boat dock, so definitely check that out. And then back in here, you've got a little underwater point, or not an underwater point, just a secondary point that's out here. So definitely check that out, and check out this seawall too. These seawalls can be pretty good sometimes. In fact, I caught a fish right there, right behind that dock. There's a little bit of rock or something that was back there. And then there's two little points that come here with a little bit of a creek channel or a ditch or something going on right in here. So definitely check right around in this little area right there. And then as you move further back, you'll see the creek channel as well, which is marked. So you can just follow that around, see what you can find in that area. So that covers us for that cove. We're almost done with this lake. I mean, this thing doesn't take very long at all. Here's the offshore spot that we talked about that kind of comes out and makes the point. You've also got the saddle that's right in here as well. Got another ramp that's right in here. That offshore spot we talked about where it really comes in. I believe I was fishing right around in here and there's like a swing or something in there. I don't know if that was the exact spot or not, but there's some kind of a deep spot right in there. And then you've also got a pretty decent little creek channel going on in the back here that you can follow. Now moving on down, the next thing you find is just a little point that comes out. So you definitely want to check around that point. And then you got a couple different ramps that are right here in this area too. So if you're on that boat ramp pattern, you've heard me talk about it before. You've got a few boat ramps on this lake that you could definitely check out. So you've probably got like 5 or 6 different ones that you could work on. Then I didn't see too much going on all the way down in here until I got right up off of this point that's right here. And there is some rock that's off the edge of this point. You can just barely see it, but you can tell there's some rock or debris or something going on, riprap, whatever it is, right around this point. So definitely take a look at that. And then really, guys, that wraps us up for Lake Quitman. It's a short video. Not a ton of points to share with you, but I think I gave you enough where you can at least go check it out. When I went out there, the first thing I did is I went up in the creek channels right in this area. I didn't have much luck until I pulled out, and that's when I started catching them on those docks. And then I moved over here and caught that bigger one right here off the offshore spot. And then I ended up catching another one down here close to these docks as well. And I may have caught another one up in here, but it was really, really small. So anyways, didn't have a ton of luck on this lake, but I think this is going to be a good one. And I'm looking forward to going back and fishing it. So if you want these points, we've got them out on simplisticfish.square.site. Just go out there and check out the site, get this lake or get whatever lake you want. There's about 21 lakes out there now. So lots of good stuff. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button. We're going to continue to do these lake breakdowns, fishing videos, tutorials, all that good stuff. We always appreciate your support. Until next time, take care, guys. Bye.